The NHL season has already seen a lot of action with 10 trades and multiple player extensions, including Igor Shesterkin, Jake Oettinger, Alexis Lafreniere, and Linus Ullmark. However, some of the league's top players, like Mikko Rantanen, Mitch Marner, John Tavares, and Brock Boeser, remain eligible for contract extensions. As the season progresses, expect more trades, especially as teams look to strengthen their lineups for a Stanley Cup push or secure long-term assets. With key dates, like the December holiday roster freeze, the Four Nations face-off in February, and the March trade deadline, the NHL landscape will continue to evolve. Let's take a look at the most recent news and transactions in the NHL. December 13th, Islanders waive Wahlstrom and Engvall. The New York Islanders have waived forwards Oliver Wahlstrom and Pierre Engvall after the return of injured players Matt Barzal and Anthony Duclair to practice. Wahlstrom, a 2018 first-round pick, has had a rough start to the season, with just 4 points in 27 games. Engvall, who signed a 7-year deal last year, also struggled, recording 6 points in 20 games. Meanwhile, the Minnesota Wild claimed defenseman Travis Dermott off waivers from the Edmonton Oilers and placed defenseman Jake Middleton on long-term injured reserve after a hand injury. December 12th, JT Miller returns from personal leave. Vancouver Canucks forward JT Miller returned from personal leave and played in the Canucks game against the Florida Panthers. During his absence since November 19th, Vancouver posted a solid 5-3-2 record. Miller, who has 16 points in 17 games this season, played over 14 minutes in his return, contributing 2 assists and winning 60% of his faceoffs. He will also represent Team USA in February's Four Nations faceoff. Meanwhile, Anaheim Ducks forward Trevor Zegras is expected to miss 6 weeks after surgery for a torn meniscus in his right knee. December 10th, Kevin Shattenkirk retires after 14 seasons. Veteran defenseman Kevin Shattenkirk has announced his retirement after 14 seasons in the NHL. Shattenkirk, who won a Stanley Cup with the Tampa Bay Lightning in 2020, played for 7 teams over his career, including the Colorado Avalanche, St. Louis Blues, Washington Capitals, New York Rangers, Anaheim Ducks, and most recently the Boston Bruins in 2023-24. Shattenkirk finishes his career with 103 goals, 381 assists, and 484 points in 952 games. December 9th, Avalanche trade for Mackenzie Blackwood. The Colorado Avalanche acquired goaltender Mackenzie Blackwood in a trade with the San Jose Sharks, sending forward Givani Smith and a draft pick to the Sharks. Blackwood, who has a .904 save percentage this season, will try to help stabilize Colorado's goaltending after a subpar start. This move comes after the Avalanche struggled with their opening tandem of Alexander Georgiev and Justus Anunin. Georgiev was pulled in his second-to-last start, leading to the decision to trade for Blackwood. December 6th, Rangers make big moves. The New York Rangers made significant waves by trading their captain, Jacob Trouba, to the Anaheim Ducks, while extending Igor Shesterkin to an 8-year deal worth $11.5 million annually, making him the highest-paid goaltender in the NHL. The Trouba trade also freed up salary cap space for the Rangers, with the Ducks taking on his $8 million cap hit. This allows New York to focus on their long-term future, while adding a veteran presence in Trouba to the Ducks' blue line. December 5th, Blackhawks fire coach Luke Richardson. The Chicago Blackhawks made a surprising move by firing head coach Luke Richardson and replacing him with Anders Sorensen, coach of the Rockford IceHogs, as interim head coach. The firing comes amid Chicago's slow start to the season, with the team at the bottom of the standings. The Blackhawks have been in a rebuilding phase with generational talent Connor Bedard, who has struggled with his sophomore season, including ending a 12-game goal drought. December 4th, Tyler Seguin to undergo hip surgery. Dallas Stars forward Tyler Seguin will undergo surgery on his left hip and is expected to miss 4 to 6 months. Seguin, 32, had a strong season with 20 points in 19 games, but will now be sidelined for much of the season, possibly until the playoffs. The Stars will have to adjust without one of their key offensive players. With the NHL season already delivering plenty of drama, from trades to injuries, there's straightforward to come as teams adjust and gear up for the second half of the season. Stay tuned for more updates on trades, extensions, and key injuries as the race to the Stanley Cup heats up. On November 21st, Carolina Hurricanes goalie Frederik Andersen is scheduled for knee surgery, which will sideline him for 8 to 12 weeks. Andersen, 35, has been limited by injuries in recent seasons, including a blood clot issue last year and a lower body injury in 2022-23. He has played just 4 games this season, posting a 1.48 goals against average and a .941 save percentage. Pyotr Kochetkov will continue to serve as the team's #1 goalie in Andersen's absence. The Vancouver Canucks are also facing uncertainty, as forward JT Miller has taken an indefinite leave of absence for personal reasons. Miller, the Canucks' top-scoring forward with 16 points in 17 games, is taking time away from the team with the full support of the organization, as per General Manager Patrick Allvin. In a significant coaching shakeup, the Boston Bruins fired head coach Jim Montgomery after an 8-9-3 start to the season. Montgomery, named Coach of the Year less than 2 seasons ago, was dismissed following a blowout loss to the Columbus Blue Jackets. Associate coach Joe Sacco has been named interim head coach. Montgomery's firing comes in the final year of his contract, as the Bruins struggled with poor underlying numbers despite a successful recent history. The Washington Capitals also had a setback, with Alex Ovechkin sidelined by a lower leg injury. Ovechkin is week to week after being injured in a game against Utah Hockey Club, leaving his pursuit of Wayne Gretzky's all-time goal record temporarily on hold. Before the injury, Ovechkin had been on a torrid pace, scoring 5 goals in his last 2 games and leading the league with 15 goals in 18 games. The Edmonton Oilers made a notable addition elsewhere, claiming forward Kasperi Kapanen off waivers from the St. Louis Blues. Kapanen adds depth and speed to a struggling Oilers team that has yet to receive much scoring from the wing positions this season. On November 18th, the New York Islanders were forced to place defenseman Mike Riley on indefinite leave after it was revealed that he has a pre-existing heart condition. The issue was discovered during routine concussion testing, and Riley is being evaluated for further treatment. Fortunately, he has been cleared from his prior concussion symptoms. In goalie news, the Buffalo Sabres sent 22-year-old Devin Levi to the AHL after a series of rough starts. Levi, who struggled with a 4.25 goals against average in his last 4 games, will be replaced by Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen and James Reimer, who will serve as the Sabres' goaltending tandem for the time being. In a lighter story, the Colorado Avalanche's Valeri Nichushkin returned to action on November 15th after serving a 6-month suspension under Stage 3 of the NHL/NHLPA Player Assistance Program. Nichushkin had previously been sidelined for part of the 2023 playoffs for personal reasons, but now, with the return of injured forwards Jonathan Drouin and Miles Wood, the Avalanche are looking to get back on track. Meanwhile, the Pittsburgh Penguins also made a significant move by recalling veteran goalie Tristan Jarry from his conditioning stint in the AHL. Jarry had struggled earlier in the season, posting a 5.37 goals against average and .836 save percentage before being sent down. His recall comes as the Penguins look for stability in the net amid a rocky start to their campaign. In trade news, the San Jose Sharks acquired Daniel Sprong from the Vancouver Canucks on November 8th. The move aims to add some scoring punch to a team that has struggled offensively this season. Sprong, who had 21 goals with the Kraken 2 seasons ago, adds depth to the Sharks' forward group. On the injury front, the Calgary Flames are facing a harsh blow with Anthony Mantha, who will miss the remainder of the season after undergoing ACL surgery. Mantha had been solid this season with 7 points in 13 games, but is now sidelined indefinitely. The injury is particularly tough given Mantha's potential to be a trade asset if he were healthy at the deadline. The Flyers also have a young player in the spotlight. On November 7th, rookie Matvei Michkov was a healthy scratch for the second consecutive game. Coach John Tortorella emphasized the importance of allowing young players to develop by watching games from the sidelines, as Michkov has struggled to find his rhythm after a strong start to the season. Lastly, the Florida Panthers made headlines on October 22nd when they extended coach Paul Maurice's contract. After leading the Panthers to an unprecedented Stanley Cup run, Maurice was rewarded with a multi-year contract extension reflecting his team's success.